Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Rachel Williams begins now.
Good evening, everyone. There may be light at the end of the tunnel for Tasmania's public sector wages dispute. The Education Union has announced it's shifting from its position and will lower the pay rise it's seeking. But the devil will be in the detail, with the AEU keeping its exact offer secret until a meeting with the government on Monday.
Union representatives announcing a back-down from their position.
We now believe that we have a pathway to resolve our EB negotiations. Our negotiations have been long and protracted.
The AEU had been seeking a pay rise of 3% every year for 3 years. Now they say their offer will be lower. The exact conditions are being kept secret until a negotiation meeting on Monday.
Something that will deliver not only a pay rise that is commensurate with other states, but also solutions to our workload issues.
After 10 months of negotiations, protests and school disruption, the Education Union says this is a circuit breaker. In a statement, the government welcomed the development and says it looks forward to reviewing the offer.
So if the government does reject this offer, then it is a clear indication to our members, and I can guarantee our members are not going to be happy, and they will continue the fight for quality education here in Tasmania.
While the AEU says it's acting in good faith for the negotiations, tomorrow it launches an advertising blitz attacking the state and federal Liberals. Michael Breen, 7 Tasmania News.
The polls have just closed as counting is beginning to determine the result of 3 Tasmanian upper house elections. Thousands of people voted for the Legislative Council seats of Pembroke and Nelson in Hobart and Montgomery in the northwest. First preferences are being counted tonight and will be rechecked tomorrow. Due to the wait for postal ballots, if the elections are close, the results might not be known for another 10 days. We will, of course, have a full update for you tomorrow night. A permanent memorial of a key World War II battle has been unveiled in Tasmania. Today, a commemoration marked 77 years since the Battle of the Coral Sea began, a fight that reinforced the Australia-US alliance. A plaque has now been added to the Hobart Cenotaph to memorialise the conflict. After a soggy start, the sun was at last shining down on the final day of Agfest. Crowds surged onto the avenues with no shortage of shoppers looking to take a bargain back home to the farm.
With the rain finally gone, the first order of business at Agfest was polishing the mud off your boots. Main Street was a sea of people as a crowd of 28,000 soaked up the simple things from mops to the flashy cars or boats and cunning canines under trial.
Well done, Dick. Good on you, Paris.
Oh yeah, they're smarter than us because they can read sheep quicker than we can, and it's a team event. You can't dominate the dog and the dog can't dominate you, so you've got to do it as a team.
There were courses for horses. For kids, a chance for a fuzzy encounter.
Well, these cattle are Scottish Highland cattle, traditionally obviously from Scotland. It's been a bit crazy, we've been run off our feet. We've opened up the pens for people to come in and experience close up what they're like.
Businesses also making their pitch to farmers in the market for some new tools.
Certainly a major part of our year, really. You take away a lot of contacts and that sort of thing, and you don't really know. It could even be nearly Christmas time before you finish on the last Agfest inquiry.
Of course, the other thing about Agfest is there's no shortage of great local produce. I think I might need something a little bit more substantial than a carrot, though. Luckily, they're flipping burgers right next door. All up, 63,000 people made their way to Quercus Park this year. Organisers are delighted, but that said,
you can't gauge success on just patron numbers. It's all about patrons' experience on site, along with the success of our exhibitors.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
To the TSL and North Launceston have gotten off to a solid start in their UTAS Stadium clash with Glenorchy, up by 16 points at quarter time a short time ago. Earlier today, Clarence notched up its first win of the 2019 season with a cruisy 72-point victory over North Hobart, while the Blues recovered from a slow start against Kingborough at Windsor Park, storming home the 64-point winners.
Keen to taste victory for the first time this season, the Roos came out like a side possessed in front of the home crowd, with goal magnet Jay Cox opening the account. It marked the start of a long and painful afternoon for the D's as James Holmes hammered one home to make it an early 2-goal lead. From there, the rampaging Roos never looked challenged, with Zach Bushner's steady boot rubbing salt into North Hobart's wounds. Gabe Chambers showing the visitors little respect and helping the home side along to a dominant 72-point win. Kingborough came out firing against the Blues at Windsor Park, with former Hawthorn recruit Kieran Lovell setting the tone. But the Blues soon found their feet, with Brodie Palfrement showing why he's considered one of the TSL's best, shifting the momentum back in the home side's favour. The Blues then taking full control of the match in an emphatic second quarter to hold a 32-point lead at the long break. Mick Paul eventually breaking the Tigers' goal drought to help salvage some pride before the Launceston coach helped put the finishing touches on an impressive 64-point win. It was a nail-biter at North Hobart Oval earlier in the day for the Devils' NAB League clash with the Oakley Chargers. The Tassie boys taking it right up to the Victorians to trail by a single kick heading into the last change. But 2 goals and 2 points apiece in the final quarter was enough to see the Devils left deflated at the siren, going down by just 1 point.
It was an historic day for overnight Targa Tasmania leader Paul Stokel, with the Queenslander arriving in Hobart this afternoon to claim his first ever outright title, marking the end of one of the most dramatic races seen in recent years.
After Steve Glennie crashed out in dramatic fashion on day 3, the door was left wide open for a new champion to emerge, and it was Paul Stokel and co-driver Kate Catford's turn to stamp their mark on the iconic race. Following an impressive drive yesterday on the wet roads from Strawn to Hobart, the pair weren't going to let things slip during the final 6 stages in the Huon today, arriving in Hobart this afternoon with a comfortable lead of 2 minutes and 51 seconds over Angus Kennard and his Nissan GTR, capping off their first ever Targa Tasmania win with the obligatory champagne podium. Michael Bray was rewarded for 6 consistent days on the road, which saw drivers cover more than 2,000 kilometres, taking out the classic GT class in his 1975 Holden Tirana. To basketball, and the Hobart Huskies men's side have been left lingering down the bottom of the NBL 1 ladder following another loss overnight, taking on the Braves in Bendigo. The visitors were right in it for the first half, with Jalen Adams putting on 25 points for the match. But the Huskies struggled to match Bendigo's intensity in the last 2 periods of play as the home side took charge on both ends of the court to come away with a 16-point win. Earlier in the night, the Huskies women's side recovered from a shaky first period, blitzing the Braves in the second with 24 points to put themselves in the box seat against the ladder leaders. Import Nikki Green establishing herself as one of the competition's best, top scoring with 31 as the sides traded bucket for bucket in an intense third period. But with the home crowd behind them, the Braves proved too good in the home stretch, keeping their undefeated record intact with a 7-point win. In today's NPL action, the Hobart Zebras sent an early scare through the Devonport camp at Valley Road. But the competition's number 1 side refused to go down without a fight, with Daniel Sison finding a second-half equaliser to salvage a 1-1 draw.
Hello again. It was a mild and partly cloudy autumn day across the state today. 19 the day's top temp reached in Devonport, Hobart 15, Launceston 18 degrees and Burnie got to 17. 17 the top also at Flinders Island, St Helens and Friendly Beach, 16 in Smithton, 15 at Maria Island, King Island and Grove. Strawn got to 14 while it was 9 at Lyweenie. Low-level cloud is shown on the satellite streaming over most of Tasmania today, with some clear areas about the central north. The infrared satellite shows low-level clouds streaming over Tasmania, Victoria and into South Australia. A frontal band lies over eastern Queensland, northeast New South Wales and the Tasman Sea. A second frontal band has reached WA. Tomorrow, a ridge of high pressure over Tasmania is also extending over much of the mainland, with a cold front crossing the Tasman Sea. Winds south to southwesterly 5 to 15, reaching 20 knots about the east, seas to 1.5 metres. A look at the forecast now. Showers clearing in Hobart and Richmond with a top of 15, early fog and 15 at Ooze, 17 in Launceston and partly cloudy, 16 in Devonport and 15 in Deloraine, 16 and a bit of cloud around for Burnie, Strawn and Curry, while on the east showers around 16 in St Helens, 15 in Swansea and 17 in Whitemark. Looking ahead to Monday, and cloud across most parts with conditions mostly sunny in the north and west. Tuesday should see cloud across most of the state with late showers possible on King Island, and on Wednesday showers across the north and west with cloud lingering in the south. Across the country tomorrow, partly cloudy in Perth with a top of 24, a mostly sunny 19 in Adelaide, showers for Melbourne and Sydney, 23 in Alice Springs and a mostly sunny 34 for Darwin. And there's a bit of cloud in the capital, 12 degrees in Hobart, 14 and partly cloudy in Launceston and 14 and clear in Devonport. Well, that's all your news for now. Thanks for joining us. See you tomorrow at 6. Bye for now.